Hey guys, how you going? This video, if it helps one person, I'll be happy, even if it's just one. It's about mental health issues, and I have a few ways which, before I go into it actually, from my first video, got quite a few subscribers, and thank you to all you guys who subscribed and just join our little community. Some of us have, some insight into a few things, and one of them things I have a lot of insight into is mental health. I'm not ashamed to say that many years ago I went through the mental health battle, and it wasn't very pleasant, and anybody that's going through it would know what I'm talking about. Unfortunately, the traditional methods did not work for me as far as psychiatrists, psychologists. I tried many different antidepressants which just made things worse. So in the end I had to do things my own way, and I'm not giving you medical advice here. Stick with what your doctor says, but this is just something that may help you, and you may already know it, some of you. And when it comes to mental health issues, I think just about everybody has been through it or have some sort of depression at some point in their life. And depending on the severity, it can be debilitating for the rest of your life. And I'm one of those that has to be fairly careful, and I have to look after my mental health. And if I don't, I can end up back in a bit of a hole, and I don't want to be there. So I have to be very mindful of if I'm starting to feel down, I suppose. And yeah, look, we all get down, and it really is, I suppose, depression when we get down, but we just have to know how to deal with it, I suppose, is what I'm trying to get to. And a lot of us can do it on our own. And look, I just want to share with you a couple of things that I do. I did say at the beginning in my first video that I'm not going to be coming to you with 10 things to do this and 10 ways to do that and 20 ways that I've done this. That's not this. This is just genuine ways that I've gone about doing something that helped me and could help you. No, I'm not going to throw a load of crap at you like some of them do. And once again, don't take this as medical advice. And if you do feel like you're going to do something, talk to someone, please. Please, please, above all. So, let me sort of get into it. Now, I did speak about it very briefly in my first video about the way some of us feel about different places. And the other day, what brought to mind was that I could hear the waves when I was on my walk. I could hear the waves from the beach, even though it was about 500 meters away. Now, when I was younger, I used to resonate with water and beaches, but now I resonate with forests. I'm not one of these tree huggers, whatever you want to call it. I'm not, superstitious and about all that weird stuff. This is just honest ways that I've used to help me through, and there's a few ways. So the first one is go for a walk in the forest or in nature. And let's talk about forests. When you go for that walk, have a look around at the trees and have a think about those trees and how long they've been there and what they've endured, and have a think about what you've endured for the past, I don't know how long it's been, but if it's a recent thing, compared to these trees that in some cases are hundreds of years old, have stood the test of time. And yes, they're not human, but it's just a way of reflecting on, hey, look, these trees are still here. They've stood here 24 hours a day through hail, rain, storms, you name it, heat, and yet they are still here to this day. They lose branches, but they grow back, those sorts of things. And the way that nature just heals itself, when there's drought, certain trees start to die off and allow other ones to grow. I'm not saying that we need to be doing that, but it just shows you how resilient nature is, and it can reflect on how resilient we can be. And there's something special about being in a forest, and especially after it's just rained. Actually, I just love it. You get to the forest, it's just been raining, and everything's glistening, and then once the sun comes out, everything's just glistening. It's so nice. So perhaps give that a try. Now, if you're not near a forest, that might be a difficult one, but if you're near the ocean, what about give that a try? A walk along the beach. Now, water, let's talk about water and the beach and the ocean. Sand is constantly moving. The beach, the waves, the water is constantly moving, and it's all part of nature, and it keeps going. It just keeps going and going and going, and it's just quite amazing, to be quite honest, how really you think about it, it just keeps moving. It's not human. I know this might sound a little silly, but trust me, try a walk along the beach. It may be something that could help. Try a walk in the forest, additionally to what you may already be doing. Don't give up what you're already doing. You know, if you're on medications or seeing psychiatrists, that's, as I say, I'm going to repeat it again. I'm not a doctor. I'm just telling you what I did and how it has worked for me. So that's a couple of things. And one of the most common ones that I use these days is I reflect on how other people in the world are doing it tough and they get through. And let's, for instance, at the moment, let's talk about Gaza. Now, you know, yes, look, there's some people that say the media do exaggerate, and yes, they do, but what's going on in Gaza, you've just got to see the footage to see that it's just like an apocalypse. There's nothing left. These people went from living their lives to losing everything, and they're dying in the tens of thousands. They're starving, and yet there they are. They're still there, and they're still alive, a lot of them, but it just shows you how good most of us, a lot of us, have it compared to others. And we need to probably reflect on that and say to ourselves, hey, you know, our life really isn't that bad, and, you know, look at these poor people and what they're going through. So there's sort of three ways: is the ocean, the forest, and reflecting on what others are going through. And it doesn't have to be Gaza. It can be anything, anywhere. It can be someone that has a horrible job. It can be somebody with a disability. You know, someone who's gone through grief, who've lost children in their lives, those sorts of things. And yeah, look, it's not the nicest of things, but it's a way that you can say, hey, look, these people did this. I'm in a dark hole because, I don't know, let's say, for example, you've had a marriage breakdown or something, and they can be horrid. I've just watched a friend go through one, and he's done it tough. He's done it really tough. And, you know, he's got there in the end. Not quite, but nearly, after a couple of years. But he hasn't seen any doctors or got any medical advice or anything like that. He probably should have had some antidepressants at one point just to slow things down a little bit for him, but he didn't. He'd managed to get through on his own. He may have got through it quicker with other type of help, you know, like psychiatrists, psychologists. But let's just go back to those psychiatrists and psychologists. That can in itself, for some people, probably not a lot, but for me, for instance, that was hard work. That in fact sent me backwards, dealing with these psychiatrists and psychologists. I couldn't seem to resonate with any one of them in particular. I tried different ones, and it was making it worse, going over the same stuff and dragging it back up. And I found that by dragging this back up, it was putting me back to where I'd started. So for me, that doesn't work. Maybe it's because I'm a extrovert, no, introvert, get it right, introvert, and I'm not a very big people person. That's why I love what I'm doing now, is because I can express myself via video to you people, and it's not very peoply, because I don't do peoply. It's too peoply, too many peoples. Nothing wrong with extroverts or introverts. They're different, and that's what humans are. We're all different, thank goodness, otherwise it'd be very, very boring. It may become very boring soon, actually, with AI. We'll all be told what to do with robots. I don't know. Anyway, all right, guys, look, love for you to subscribe, join our little community, because that's what this is all about. Just raw me talking to you, talking about things that have affected my life and how they may help you, others. And if you're younger, when you get to 60, which I am, you learn a few things. And you know, I'm no expert on anything. I'm a jack of all and master of none. And love life, absolutely love it. Live single at the moment, and I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on another video, because I've got a few questions. People ask me questions about that, and I'm going to answer some of those questions that I've been asked by friends, and I'm going to tell you about it. So what my experiences are and why I love single life. It's great. So, all right, well, have a great day, stay safe, and I'll speak to you real soon. Thank you.